Now we're live, Billy.
Hey guys, Billy Davison here. I got Justin with Forever Self-Employed and plus the great Mike Oleyn. Mike, how are you been? Justin, how have you been?
I'm doing good, bud. Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. I'm glad you was able to join. So you down in South Florida, is that correct?
Yep, West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach, that's where the money's at, right?
Wherever I'm at, that's where the money is.
That's what I'm talking about.
And Justin, where did you fly off to today?
Oh man, I take the helicopter different places and stuff.
You in the bunker, I heard, huh?
Yeah, a place undisclosed to anybody.
So the other night I was outside just looking up at the stars, and there goes Justin with his helicopter. I was like, "Hey, come get me!"
You gotta watch out, man. I'm gonna be flying around. Billy, want me to go ahead and shout out some people who are hopping in the?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so shout out to we got Andrew Mills. He says, "What's up?"
Right.
We got Brand Bigner. He says he was wondering if it was working or not. We had a little bit of delay in the beginning. Al Bianco says you guys are like my giants. I don't know what that means.
Thank you much.
I am getting swole, baby. No, I'm
That's what I'm talking about. John W says, "What's up?" We got Jeremy Olson in the house. What's up, Wash Mafia?
What's up,
bud? We got a bunch of people in here. So yeah, man, it's looking good.
Awesome.
Of course, we got Wild West in here. Y'all know he's always in everything.
Wild West. I was texting him just a little bit, I think yesterday or so. Yeah, he's becoming a good friend.
Good support.
He's very loyal to our YouTube channel for sure.
That's what I'm talking about. We're just waiting on Truth Seeker to go ahead and hop in.
Yeah, Truth Seeker. That's right. Apex said he was going to join. I don't know if he's hopped in or not. Maybe he'd comment sooner or later. But
right, absolutely. So what's up, you guys, man? I'm gonna wait for some comments to come in here, and then once we start getting some questions, I'll roll with those.
Yeah. So we just been really busy here down in Hammond, Louisiana. Also, we've been traveling across the southeastern part of the United States. We was just in Mike's neck of the woods last weekend, and we're traveling to another faraway place here in a short period. So we're not going to disclose that location because of security reasons. But other than that, we've just been pedal to the metal, hammer down, just not letting up. And I understand, Mike, you've been quite busy as well, right?
Yeah, so I'm as busy as I ever been. And, up north, people are starting to slow down. But this is our busy season in this area. So besides it being the busy season, I was on track to be into my, busiest year yet. Obviously, this is my third year, so it's pretty much tripled since every year. So
yeah. Same with us. It's growing exponentially, and I've found a way. Even during all these trying times that we're going through as a nation, we got to keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep moving on. And if you keep that motivation up, good things are bound to happen to you.
Yep, you got to adapt and overcome, bud. That's I was diving into that sanitization stuff a little bit, and I didn't dive real deep, but that's just one little example of the kind of things that we can do in our line of work.
We have found over the past few months, we do this dumpster routes around Louisiana, and we train guys for it as well. And we have found that we're not only doing restaurants now, but we're doing financial institutions, hospitals, that sort of thing. And the main reason is people weren't leaving for lunch. You might have 25, 30 people working at a financial institution like a bank or something, and everybody's staying in for lunch, and all of their scraps go into the dumpster. And now it's almost like a mini restaurant inside the bank. So those dumpster, that kind of falls in the category of sanitation. Also, the playgrounds are a big deal right now. So guys need to be looking at those two options, and also all your fast food restaurants we're finding are up in their game a little bit. They should have been doing this for years, but now they've been a little bit more cognitive of the outside of their buildings. So it's a good thing to go in and approach those fast food restaurants. Mike, have you gotten into any of that part of the industry so far?
Restaurants, no. I'm open to it. It's just something that I haven't really dove in for marketing, like trying to get that kind of stuff. The only commercial stuff I really do is when it's like a friend or maybe a past customer is works at a health facility. I've had jobs like that, and that's just from doing residential. And So it's not something I dive into, but I'm open. I'll clean anything, man.
Yeah, that's same here. And I tell guys all the time, when you go to do someone's residential job, and Justin has great luck with it with his Facebook ad strategy, he'll get a good residential call. But we got to remember, these people usually work somewhere at a commercial building. So when we finish our job with them, not only are we asking for our 5-star reviews, maybe a referral, but also we give them a couple business cards. Hey, can you pass this along to someone in your corporation? And if they're working in that corporation, usually they got an email list that they can hit with it. They can get it on up to people that need to have our information. So we have a lot of crossbreeding between the residential and the commercial, and vice versa. If you work at a commercial building, all those people live somewhere. So it's good to go. If you can go into the break room, drop a flyer off, a few cards on the table, and make your way out, that can definitely, be that cross-pollination between residential and commercial.
Yeah, it's nice when you don't even have to ask for it too, because I know we just did a job that I landed off of Facebook, and the lady said that she was part owner of one of the restaurants in town. She said, "I'm gonna get y'all to come out and give us a quote." So that's pretty fun. Billy, we got our first super chat here from Merry Christmas 2.0. He said, "Justin, how much to set up Facebook ads?" So if you want help, I just teach you guys how I set up my ads. So if you guys want to learn how to set up your Facebook ads, go check out Billy's resource page, and you can purchase the local domination course through there and go ahead and grab that. I also got a couple of questions here. Andrew Mills wants to know, what would you guys rather have, an open trailer or an enclosed trailer?
Mike, I'll let you speak on that, and I'll chime in afterwards.
All right. So first thing you got to ask yourself is, do you have somewhere to keep the open trailer? Open trailer is definitely a little more efficient. It's easier to get to your stuff. It's just the only problem is you don't have coverage. So if you're starting out and you maybe got a low budget and you don't have somewhere to, like a garage or a shop, I would recommend going the enclosed route. That's kind of how I started. Well, it is how I started, and it was great for security reasons, weather reasons, and it just was like a little shed on wheels. And then I made the transition into a skid, but now I have, I recently got a home, so I have area to keep my open. It's not an open trailer, but it's a skid, which is basically the same concept.
Sure. Right.
So I had to wait until I had the area to store that to get an open trailer, but it definitely is more efficient having an open skid or a trailer, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. What I might add to that, Mike, is when you use an enclosed trailer, there's a couple benefits to it. As you mentioned, the security, anti-theft, it's harder for someone to break into it. Also, it's a rolling billboard, but then you have the problems of the usability of it, getting in and out of it, and then storing your SH, the sodium hypochlorite. I know a guy that has an enclosed trailer. He's went to a couple axles already, and the trailer's only 2 years old. So the sodium hypochlorite, if it's stored in any way, shape, or form inside that enclosed trailer, you're going to get rampant rust and oxidation and metal fatigue throughout the trailer rather rapidly. So those trailers have to either have an undercoating on them and maintain properly constantly, or either just plan on replacing the trailer about every season or two.
Yeah, it happens quick.
Yeah, definitely. So we basically run open trailers because of that. I have a trailer that's going 3 years old. There's no telling how many miles we've put on this thing. We done wore out a set of tires on it a couple of times, and it has very little rust on it. But we will be religious about is rinsing the whole unit down after each job. So, if you were spraying SH even 40, 50 yards away from it, that stuff is sort of kind of atomized, becomes airborne, and the metal has like an electrostatic charge to it that attracts the salt molecules, and it gets on your equipment. So that rinse down is super important.
Dang, hit him with that chemistry, Billy. I love it, man. So Taylor Hurst wants to know, when is Forever Self-Employed gonna get a power wash trailer? I'm just going. It's kind of expensive. I'm just gonna keep using Billy's and Apexes for a little while.
Well, it's a lot easier.
Absolutely. So we got another question here from Jeremy Olson. He says, I signed up with the Triple B BBB. Is it worth it or wasted expense? I did it for the trust factor of using their logo. I don't know anything about Triple B.
The Better Business Bureau.
Oh, okay.
Years ago, maybe Mike could speak on it, but years ago, it was a big thing. It was basically a certification that you have not taken someone's check and not did their job, or it. Basically, now we have our 5-star reviews, and that sort of kind of takes the place of the Better Business Bureau listing. But if you can do both, for sure, do it. You got a lot of older population out there. Most of our clients that we work for are retirees, and they still are in that mindset of checking the BBB. But the new generation is into the reviews, so I would definitely do both. Mike, would you have anything to add to it?
Well, personally, I don't have that BBB logo. I don't, and like you said, you wanted to maybe get it because of the use of the logo, which is kind of what I thought about doing.
Right.
But when I researched it, it kind of appeared to be more like a home advisor and Angie's List type deal.
Right.
And I kind of stayed away from it. But I may be wrong. That's the thing with me. I may be 100% wrong. So I just haven't used it.
So back before maybe 15 years ago, a big thing, and I don't know if y'all were made aware of this, but back in 15, 20 years ago, clients used to check our Dun & Bradley rating, our D&B rating, and that's basically a national rating for your small business. And that's kind of died out. There's not too much going on with that anymore, but that's kind of the way we used to run our BBB listing. But, as everything, times changes, our marketing strategies change, even the equipment changes, the soap solutions we use changes. So you got to be able to evolve with your marketing, whether using those logos or not.
Absolutely. Sweet. So John W. wants to know, I need some help with having invoices made for my local print shop. What should I have on them?
The way I do my invoices, and Mike, you might can add to this as well. I customize my invoice. Basically, I have our header at the top, and then that never changes. Our phone number, contact information, a few certifications we have, such as like some of our safety regulations that we cover. Other than that, below that header is wide open. We will customize every invoice to each project. And so we don't use just a one size fits all pretty much. And we find that most of our customers like that customization on it.
So what I did when I first started was there's an app called Joist. It's free. It's a free app. Go check it out. The only thing is they do ask if you want to join their Pro Joist application. It's $10 a month, which is really nothing. And then you can start. It's a little more in depth, so you can get it for free, but you ain't have your logo on it. So if you pay $10 a month, they'll put your logo, make it look pretty, and then you can print it out. Or right now, I use the Customer Factor, which is awesome. I love it. Beautiful invoices, beautiful estimates. You can email and text them, print them out, walk them up, mail them. You could do all kinds of things with it. So it all depends on how much.
Do you so you hand deliver your invoice, or you mostly email them out?
Me?
Yeah.
I email all my stuff. That's actually one thing I just implemented. I don't even give people estimates unless they're willing to give me their email. And that's, obviously there's going to be some exceptions, but I figure if someone's not going to meet me a little bit for me to give them a free estimate to take their email, they're usually not the type of people I want to do business with. And I know there's older people out there that don't really know how to email and stuff like that. So there is exceptions, but emails to me are very important, and just for follow-ups, things like that. So
yeah, I agree with that. I like to try to create some hoops for the customer because, man, if they don't jump through like 1 or 2 hoops, man, then you're like 9 out of 10 times it's just a waste of your time, Yeah. But yeah, I had a situation this morning. I was quoting a job, and this lady goes, I was asking her about just some particular parts of the house. And I was like, I'm just gonna come out and do a quote for you. What's the address? And she came back with, oh, my husband knows a guy, but you could just come out and give us a bid anyway. I'm gonna be the one paying for it. So whoever's the lowest will get it. And I'm just like, okay, thank you.
At least she was straight up.
Right, she was. Yeah, that's true. Instead of wasting my time. Right. So it looks like we got another super chat here. Another super chat from Merry Christmas. He asked the same question. Justin, how much would you charge to set up Facebook ads? I know you have the course, but I want to be set up right. It's about the end of the season. Look, if you want to go ahead and email me, I could probably throw my email in here. Maybe we can discuss it. I'm going to go ahead and throw my email in the chat real quick.
Now, I've seen a few guys take that local domination course and it's the gift that keeps on giving. Once you learn that strategy, you can put it in a flyer design. You can do Facebook. You can run Google Ads with it. It's really, maybe just setting up the first time might be helpful, but it's really something you probably need to pay a lot of attention to and try to learn that strategy. Just because you can implement it, not even in this industry, but if you had some other side hustles as well.
Dude, my buddy Tim, so he's out in California, and he's in like a pretty dense population where he's at. And we ran 2 ads for him. One was a painting ad, and we spent probably about $25 on the ad. He got back 24 leads, and it wasn't just like, hey, can you come paint a wall? It was like, can you paint my 3,600 square foot home? Like multiple leads like that. And then I helped him set up some more ads for solar panel cleaning, and he did like 10 grand last month just cleaning people's solar panels. So it does take a little bit of tweaking, but you can really run up the numbers on it very well.
Mike, do you have a preferred way that you do your marketing? Is it online or is it?
I hammer Google. I don't run ads though. Basically, my whole thing is I like to accumulate reviews and do good work, because I promise you, like I get the most referrals from people that I've obviously done work for. But when I do a good job, it's like they tell everyone. And me just buying a house recently, I've learned that finding people to do good work is so hard. Like I needed to hire a plumber, and it was an absolute nightmare. The guy never showed up when he said he would. He never told me the truth. Like it was always like, I'm on my way. Almost like, I felt like, I don't know.
Bunch of BS, really.
Yeah, and it's like, so what I do is I stick to my word. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And I know I'm a little higher than most of the people in my area. Just because of the feedback I get. But what it's doing, it's drawing me to a better customer base, and they're very close knit, and they all talk to each other. So it's like, if you're patient and you do great work, you're going to get a lot of phone calls. But Google is the number one. I would say that's what produces most of my phone calls, Google.
So if you're running 15 minutes late on a client, do you send them a text or shoot them a call or something and just let them know that you're on your way?
Yes. So I usually tell them like on a roundabout time. So I'll say, hey, I'll be there around 10 a.m. And basically I'm usually there about that time, but I'll let them know when I'm on my way. So like, say it's like 9:50 a.m. and I got to be there by 10. I'll send them a text just saying, hey, we're on the way. About 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So it looks like you're late, but it also makes it seem like you're just letting them know you're on your way, and they're not going to be. If you don't tell them that, they might be mad. So,
yeah, right. And you know how that feeling, always looking out the window, seeing who's about to pull up. That gets exhausting. Like waiting on the cable installer to come.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think if you're the better the communication is, the better chance you're going to get a good review. Like I text them the day before telling them, hey, just wanted to confirm tomorrow's appointment. Is there a best, like a lot of communities in my area with the gates. So I ask them, what's the best gate entrance to come in? We'll be there around this time. Just wanted to confirm. And then this way, if say they're canceling, I don't waste my time, or I can fill in somebody that's on the, trying to get a job done sooner. That's like booked weeks out, things like that. So the communication's huge. It helps me, and it also helps the customer, which then gives them a better chance to leave a review. So,
but it also it adds another layer to your to-do list daily. So, a lot of guys that I've talked to on the phone, I was like, look, when you jump into this industry and you're dealing with clients, residential clients specifically, you have to be spot on every day. And you can't have a lazy day, running 2 hours late, not letting them know, that sort of thing, or not showing up at all, like your plumber. And I'm in the same position for you. I've called a plumber, I called a gutter person, 3-4 phone calls, they never show up. And
it's hard.
After that, I don't want them to do the work, because what's going to happen if they mess up on my work,
And when you find a plumber, you're going to want to, like a good one, you're going to want to hold on to them. So like, then I'm starting to realize as a businessman, like, man, if you just answer your phone and tell people what you're going to do and actually do it, you're going to be the best businessman in the world. Like, it's just, that's all it comes down to, little things like that. because
Not to mention, if one of your friends or family was like, "Hey, Mike, you know a plumber?" You're gonna be like, "Oh, my guy's the best!" Like,
excited to tell them, like, dude, is anybody like I'll it's like they do the marketing for me, you know. So you do good work. You don't even have to market; they do it all for you. So that's
true.
you know, and you learn that with time. So it's like
that's how you get that snowball. It's a real balancing act, talking to some of these customers as well. I think that's something that comes with time because I see some younger guys who, don't necessarily have the same, I don't know. It's just the way you got to talk to them, to get the best results.
smile. They say smile while you're on the phone, and it really does help.
Yeah.
Not to mention, you got to know how to ask good questions as well, so you can really get down to it,
Mm-hmm.
So Joe Chapman wants to know, question for Billy. Do you have to obtain a painter contractor license for parking lot striping? I'm in Florida and I'm considering taking your course.
I don't believe so, but you will have to make sure you do have a business license and be registered with your local county. That is probably the most important thing. Now, Mike, you down in Florida, is there any specific rules down in your area that you're aware of?
For painting, well, for what I have an LLC, but that wasn't required. You can get a DBA license, and then with my county, you have to get something that's called a tax receipt or something. A county tax. You have to pay. All it is you give them $30. That's all it is. So, but yeah, looks like So that's about it. And insurance, obviously.
Of course, gotta have that insurance. So we got another question right here from Ryan A. He says, "Hey guys, big fan of all three. Mr. Billy, when you're doing your
We're still on?
Yeah, can you hear me, Billy?
We're good, Billy.
I might have lost Justin.
I think you went out for a second. Mike, can you hear me?
I hear both you guys.
Okay, cool. Can you hear me, Billy?
Billy, you good?
Billy might be having some trouble hearing us. We're experiencing some technical difficulties. Everybody give us a second real quick. Billy, can you hear me? Okay, hold on. So, I can answer this question while we're waiting for Billy to hop back on. So, Ryan says, big fan of all three. Mr. Billy, when you're doing your recurring commercial contracts, are you washing monthly or quarterly? So, Billy does those Sonics, and he'll probably talk about it once he hops back in here. I think he had to hop out because he was having some difficulties. But he has some that he does every 2 weeks, and he has some that he does monthly, just depending on the amount of volume of customers. With everything going on, it's weird. I don't know if you've noticed this, Mike, but the fast food restaurants are actually way more. There's way more people going to them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've always gone to them, but I know what you mean. I think because it's just easier than going. People are scared to deal with people, so I think going through a drive-through is a lot easier.
I think I lost y'all for a second. Can y'all hear me now?
I hear you, Billy.
Okay.
You hear me, Billy?
Something happened.
Okay, sweet. Hey, Billy, so we had a question from Ryan A. He wants to know, when you're doing those reoccurring commercial contracts like the Sonics, are you washing monthly or quarterly?
Most of them are monthly. Yeah.
Right. And I was telling him, even with the amount of volume increasing with everything going on, some of them have even gone to like every 2 weeks.
Yeah. Can y'all see me centered okay?
You're good.
Okay, great. So with the Sonic contracts, each Sonic is a little different. Sometimes you have Sonics in large networks. We finding that the Sonics here recently have doubled their traffic, their vehicle traffic, obviously. Reason being with the Sonics, you got more of the older population going there. They're not wanting to sit down at restaurants. So they're sitting in their car, and next to them, they may be visiting their kids or grandkids. And sometimes there's an entire group that may take up one whole side for an hour or so. So you get a lot of that traffic that's not just in and out. They actually stay in there. Things are getting spilled, getting dropped. So the Sonics have twice the amount of traffic. Like one Sonic in particular, they were taking in about 500 cars per day before the pandemic. Now they up to about 1,200 cars a day. So the drive-throughs are getting beat up really bad. The parking bays are horrible. The patios are really dirty because the traffic in and out the doors with the girls carrying a tray, that sort of thing. Things are getting dropped. And then to compound that, you drop food on the ground, and y'all know this, the birds come in, the rodents, everything else comes in. So they are required a lot more maintenance than they were, let's say, a year ago. So, and that's what we highlight in that training course, that these people don't really know who to call. They're busy in the kitchen. They got orders backed up for 2 days, basically trying to get orders out the door. They know the place is dirty. They just don't have the time to sit there and meet with 3 people getting quotes. And that's where we teach approach these places and start getting them, start landing them. And it's been working phenomenal.
Absolutely. Wild West says, I've been handing out cards a lot at rallies.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, man, just get yourself in front of people. But Billy, that's awesome, man. Like what you were just talking about, like these people sound like they have so much going on that when they find someone like you to clean their property, it's like they don't even care anymore. They know you're coming. It's like the price isn't even a thought in their mind, probably. Exactly. Obviously, you got to be fair, but they just want it done, and they know you're going to – that's why, you just show up, and you're good, man. And no matter what happens, McDonald's is always – or Sonic's always going to be around,
For sure. Right, yeah. And the thing about it, also with fast food restaurants, they're getting inspected more. So you got the attention out there with the virus going around, but also it affects the cleanliness of the entire store. Customers want to see a cleaner place. And we have been advocating this for years, decades now, that who wants to step over a nasty sidewalk to go eat a fine steak dinner? Nobody.
They might turn around.
Yeah, they might even get out the car. So it's on the restaurants now. If they want to make it, they need to have their best foot forward when a customer pulls up in that parking lot. The entire experience, from the time they close their car door to the time they get back in it, they need to feel safe the entire way. And starting in the washing of the parking lot, you got bird droppings on the windows. All of that can't take place anymore. And it's a good thing for our industry, for sure.
For sure. So we got another question here. What's your thoughts on using Home Advisor?
No. Yeah, maybe Mike can speak on it. I've never used them. The people I have seen it used, they did get some work off of it, but I would say it would be our last resort. I don't know if Mike, you agree with that or not?
I don't even know.
I mean, to be honest, I hate Home Advisor. Yeah. They call my phone so much, and it's annoying.
Yeah, they are persistent. You got to give them that, right?
But also, it makes you think, if they were that good, would they need to be hounding people like this? So I stay away, but I don't want to trash them too bad because I never use them.
Right. Now, I will say this. One of my buddies did have some success with kind of niching down within Home Advisor. Like, I think he was in San Antonio area, and instead of being like with the pressure washing group, he was specifically for roof washing. So I guess they were referring out roof washing leads to him. Right. It was a lot less call volume, but there was a lot less competition. So
it was a very specific.
Right.
Depends on your area, probably, I guess.
Exactly. Like, yeah, for Mike, I'm sure he couldn't hop on there and get roof wash leads out in Florida.
Nah, man, because there's just so many people doing it down here. So,
right. Okay.
But there's no excuse, man, because I stay busy as can be, and I promise you, if you type in pressure washing in Google down here, your computer practically melts. Wow. And I still stay busy, so
absolutely. Yeah. Awesome, man. So Andrew Mills wants to know, what do you guys think about doing dryer vent cleaning? It's something I'm looking to add to my business.
I've done it, not much of it, but it's actually it's pretty easy. But the only thing is, it seems like it carries a lot of liability. So like, because sometimes you have to go in the house, disconnect the dryer. It's not just always from the outside in, and you have to have certain insurances for that. So it's kind of one of them things that, it's an add-on for me, but I don't think how far I'll dive in. I don't know how far I'll actually,
What's the average cost for vent cleaning like that?
Well, I just usually add like 100, 150, if I'm doing a
low ticket.
But I'm not going, honestly, it's not something I would go just do that, unless there's exceptions, but it just the profit margin doesn't seem as good as power washing.
Absolutely.
Right. So I was actually running some Facebook ads for somebody who was doing dry vent cleaning, and I will say that there's not a lot of competition. So if you were looking for like a niche service to get your foot in the door with some of these customers, I would say it would definitely be a good way to do that. It is low ticket though, so I mean you're not going to make more than 125, 150 bucks a visit. However, maybe you get your foot in the door there, and then you leverage that into house wash, roof wash, driveway cleaning.
Good point.
And
Like window cleaning, kind of like it's
window
not
cleaning.
get your foot in. Yeah, that's a good point.
Right. And then you can be their guy, I guess. So Edwin Hernandez says, Justin, your Facebook ads class got me 6 calls yesterday. Just want to say
Boom.
thank you.
Dang,
Absolutely,
yeah,
man.
That's awesome.
Come on, baby.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got. Apex Pressure Washing is in the building. What's up, guys? I'm about to go to Home Depot.
I love Home Depot, bro. I'm about to go too.
I'm gonna tell Apex something right now in public so the world can hear it. He better get some rest tonight because tomorrow I'm gonna put him through the work. Yeah, we got several parking lot striping jobs to do tomorrow. So
Apex is coming with you?
Yeah, he's a full-time employee, and also he does he has his own side hustle as well, pressure washing.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah,
and
he's got 2 8s now. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, man. I swear this whole thing's changed my life for the better, man. Just not only it's not just about the money, man. Just my whole thought process.
Your happiness, right?
Freedom. You're free. Like, gosh,
Mike, you have a family, right?
Well, I live with my girlfriend. I don't have any kids, but I do have family. They're all back in Philadelphia. But
I got you.
Yeah, but I mean, family's important. Like my dog, my girlfriend.
Right.
But freedom, man.
Yeah, and if you had to go clock in somewhere 40, 50 hours a week, you might go in there and not like the people that you're working for. They might not like you. It's that sort of thing. It's a toxic work situation. And sometimes this is an avenue out of that environment. Even if it's an entire career change, it can be done.
That's exactly my story, man. I mean, it's not even been in 1 year since I've gone full time.
Right.
And, dude, I just remember working with people and always had that thought, like, here I am busting my butt trying to get stuff done for this company because I have a good work ethic. And you're working around people that don't really work hard. They're making the same amount of money. And it's like, and it just drove me into this industry, or just drove me to be an entrepreneur. Even though I always thought I was an entrepreneur at heart as a kid, just the little actions. But I got so fed up with that 9 to 5. You're a slave to a company that you're killing yourself for. And if you were to drop dead, they would forget about you in 2 days. So it's like,
right. And what about your income? Did it increase as you started to get more successful with your exterior cleaning?
It was a little bit of a risk. It was, because I was doing pretty good with income wise at this company. So I was making less power washing the first year. Obviously, yeah, I made a lot less than I did at the full-time job. So it was a little bit of a risk, but I got that taste of, I knew that if I would put my heart and soul into this, the money I was making there is nothing compared to what could be made doing this. And thankfully it's worked out well for me, So as the years went on, like I said, I tripled each year, and it's worked out. And I'm glad I left my job. But I'm not trying to just tell people to leave their job. It's just, you have to
leave your job now.
Yeah. Someone's like,
I'm leaving now.
I tell guys all the time, they just say, well, I have a benefit package and a 401k and all of that. And I understand that's hard to walk away from, especially if you're in that mindset. But, let's say you go from making $1,000 a week at your job, working for, someone else, but you can do that daily now. So you can go buy your own insurance. You don't need that, that attachment to that old job, especially if you slowly walk yourself into being an entrepreneur. And a lot of guys want to know, when is the perfect time to leave their 40-hour week job, and it's a tough answer. It's a personal decision you have to make. But I think a good guideline is when you are matching your current income at least 9 months out of the year. it's probably time for you to go ahead and leave that 40-hour-a-week job. Unless y'all have any thoughts on it, Justin?
I would just say, work your side hustle until it becomes your main hustle. So, just run it on the weekends, build those books over, a year or two, especially if you have a family and stuff, you're kind of over leveraged, so you really need to make sure that you're kind of set up and ready to go. So just use the side hustle as practice, you know what I mean? Practice your marketing skills, practice your ability to talk to customers, practice your ability to upsell, the whole deal, you know what I mean? Until you feel like you got a really good handle on it, and then obviously make that transition.
So, Mike, I have a question for you. What has been your biggest job to date, monetarily wise? If you don't mind sharing that with us.
Just recently, I had my biggest job. It was a mansion, and there's several houses at this one property. I actually had to sign a non-disclosure, because it's a famous person. So,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the first house was a couple grand just to do, and that's in 8 hours work. And then there's also a guest house. The big ticket was almost $10K. The whole, I'm talking, there's three houses. They had 2 tennis courts. They had 2 pools. It's right on the beach. It was immaculate. So this is definitely the biggest taste per day that I've ever had.
So how were you able to get in front of a client like that then, Mike?
Basically just from people I know. So, just being down here in Palm Beach, it's not that I know a lot of people like that. It's just, it was a friend of a friend of a friend type thing. So,
good referral.
Because those type of people, they really don't let people into their area without trusting them. If that makes sense.
Yeah, we find that a lot. Some of our larger homes we wash, price doesn't matter to them. What matters to them, if you're not going to go there and rip the awnings and stuff off the house and steal the fixtures and that sort of thing. They want that trust factor,
Yeah, because and plus it's privacy, and they also have security, and they don't just let everyone around their property. So hopefully something comes of it where I do like the neighbors and stuff like that. But we'll see, man.
Absolutely. Well, you got your foot in the door,
Yeah. Did your vehicle have signs on it when you were in the neighborhood, like magnet signs?
Oh yeah, I have my truck fully wrapped now. Yep.
Yeah, that helps out so much. I see guys all the time riding around, not working, with no signs on their vehicle, no signs on their trailer. They have no yard signs. They're not handing out cards or flyers. And I'm like, hey, this is a big problem here.
It is, because I remember the first time I was the same way. I didn't have anything on my truck. I carried everything in the back of the truck. So when I unloaded it, it probably looked like I was just washing my own home. But the first time I rolled out with Billy was on a job that I landed through Facebook. And I mean, even the trailer being out there with the signage on it, we got 3 bids for 3 different houses in the neighborhood just being there washing for like 2-3 hours. And I was like, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah, those walk-ups are so powerful. And I tell my guys, if I'm busy and we get a walk-up, I get their name, their address, and their phone number. And then we go look at it. But just saying, hey, it's the second house there on the right, you might go there and they're gone. They might have had to run to town or something. You go look at it, you don't know how to get in contact with them. You kind of scribble it on the back of a business card and stick it in the door and never hear from them. But if you got that name, address, and phone number from that walk-up, now you can drip on that customer. You can follow up with them, that sort of thing. So it's always important to get those walk-ups.
Right. Edwin Hernandez wants to know, what's the best way to get red clay off of concrete?
Yeah, so you're gonna probably have to use some chemicals, maybe an acid base. Sometimes the greaser will work, that sort of thing, and just give a good work on it. Mike, did you have much success with getting those red stains taken off?
Yeah, it's funny to me that there's like 2 different types of that red clayish stain. Like some of it's like a rust type deal, and usually I carry powder oxalic acid, and I just throw 16 ounces of that per gallon, which is strong. Yeah, and I just spray it down, rinse it off, rinse everything real well, and then sometimes there's these red stains at the bottom of houses, and it's actually organic. SH will clean it up. And then there's sometimes that I need to use a degreaser. So I guess it depends on where you're at. And obviously red clay stains means red clay stains, but sometimes it may look like red clay when it's really
not.
Or it could be, you ever see that mold that gets real red?
Yeah, like a maroon color, yeah.
And then sometimes when that green black mold, when you spray it, it turns bright red. It's so weird. But I would say always carry acid, always carry a low pH like an acid, always carry a high pH degreaser and SH on your truck, and you'll be able to clean everything.
Pretty much that's going to cover 99% of things you run into. Now, we love Moric Acid, but you got to be careful with it. You got to have some experience. But there are a lot of other acids, hydrochloric, obviously. But like you said, either it's going to be acid, it's either going to be degreaser, or either a biocide like sodium hypochlorite. And generally, that's 99% of what we run into.
Yeah, Moric works really good, but there's such like a, people talk so bad about it because it is dangerous. So you have to be super careful. But it works. Like you put that in you fill up your bucket with 3 gallons of water, and you put like a half a gallon of that or a gallon of that, cleaning everything rust wise.
Yeah, that's true. And they got a new Moric Acid now. The Moric Acid we're using before was a 31.5. Now they got a 20% with low VOC, so it's much more user friendly. But you still have to be extremely careful with it. And I tell guys all the time that, you get an acid burn, you may as well have been burned by fire because it's just as bad.
Or if you breathe it in too,
breathe it in. Yep. You get chemical pneumonia, that sort of thing. So whenever you're dealing with those harsh chemicals, you have to read those safety data sheets on them, and also use extreme caution, not be in a rush. So that way you can go back to your customer and they need to be paying for that extra service that you perform as an upcharge.
Awesome. So Wild West wants to know, hey guys, if y'all clean gutters, what's your fastest way?
So the tiger striping on it, I'm assuming that's what he's referring to.
Maybe so. Maybe he's just talking about a gutter cleaning. I don't know. I'm not sure.
So you got the inside of the gutter and you got the outside of the gutter. We like gutter butter, LA Awesome for the outside, and the inside of the gutter, you just get up there and manhandle it, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
I always try if he's talking about inside the gutter, I always try to get the stuff out as dry as I can, and then sometimes just your ball valve, man. That thing will blow it'll blow everything out of it.
What size machine are you running, Mike?
What's that?
What size machine are you running?
I have an 8-gallon and a 10-gallon.
Yeah, so that 8 will definitely on a J-Rod clean out 50 feet of gutter.
Or sometimes I don't even use a gun. I just crack my ball valve and just it'll blow leaves away too.
Yeah,
you could do a leaf cleanup with a ball valve
all day long, right?
Yeah, that's what Apex says. He's like, this is 5 times more stronger than any blower you could ever have. Didn't he say something like that?
Yeah. Well, I don't think he realized that actually H2O is 600 times more dense than our normal atmosphere. So if you can compress and pressurize water and push it through an orifice, you can definitely move some material, but you got to move it quickly because then it becomes saturated with the water and it starts to get heavy. So you got to get after and get it moving quickly.
Scientists, man, that's some science stuff right there.
Hey, Billy knows what he's talking about, man.
It's true though. It is. It's like you got to be. It's a perfect balance because if you get it too wet, it's not going nowhere. But if you get that ball valve cracked correctly, that's going away.
Absolutely. So Jason wants to know, hey, Mr. Billy, hey, Mr. Davis, Jason from Gulf Coast here in Florida. Did that customer referral work out? I guess he sent you a referral, huh, Billy?
Yeah, I hadn't heard from him. I think he sent me a Facebook Messenger thing. I'll get back with you, Jason, probably this afternoon. But yeah, I hadn't got any emails or phone calls from him as of today.
That's right. Okay, Mikey Bag says it's not what you know, it's who you know.
That's kind of true. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad I know Justin with his Facebook ad strategy. I joke about it in some of our videos, but this dude, you get no sleep. When I told him, I say, hey, get us some roof wash jobs. Hey, cut it off. It's all day long.
That's what's so cool about the ads too, because you can turn it on when you need it and turn it off.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. So Jason says, my business has surpassed both my salary and my wife's. Should I put my wife full time to answer phones and take bids? She sells it better than I do.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Women do sell, especially a knowledgeable woman. You know, us men, we want to go out there and manhandle the whole building, get it all clean, but we kind of hate to do the paperwork stuff and all of that. But yeah,
Right.
a woman is a great salesperson for sure.
Mike, do you sell over the phone, man, or do you rather in-person selling?
Me, I do most of my stuff online. So
Really?
the way I do it is, like I said, I use Jill's office. So they call me while I'm out at work or whatever. I don't even know who's calling, nothing. When I get home at night, I go and I look at, usually I have about like 6 to 10 different estimate requests. I go ahead and I just pull up Google Earth, take some measurements, boom, 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 mostly roof cleaning. I go ahead, shoot the estimate over, and then I just go about my business, and then either they accept it or they decline it or they say nothing or they call and ask me to lower my price, or but most of my
I just
stuff
find that
is digital.
I just find that people are so much more fickle when it's just a text exchange, rather than if I go and walk the house with them,
No, I agree. If I went and did the in-person estimates, I would close a lot more. 100%. It's just I'm trying to get there, man. I'm like trying to get my 2 guys ready to go on the truck without me, and then I can start really going walking. Because you're right. Like when you're there, they get to meet you. You're clean cut. You're knowledgeable. You start putting things out. You make little jokes like about their dog, like "Hey, killer, get away," or like little stuff like that. They laugh, man. They like you, and then it just helps.
Right, because when I'm walking the house, I've developed so many little sales tactics, and I know that they probably had people who've come watch the house before that didn't really know what they were doing. I can't tell you how many people are like, "Hey, can you not wash the windows too heavy because the last person, cracked the seals or they messed up that guard that's over the top of it." And so whenever I'm walking the house, I'm like, "Hey, even if you don't go with me, I'm like, just be sure that whoever comes after me doesn't do this, 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 and this." You know what I mean? And
I might stick with them too. Like they'll be sleeping that night, like, man, Justin was so nice. I think he's a little more expensive than but I gotta go with him. Like little things like that. It's true,
because you have to find ways to leverage yourself against. There's always going to be a cheaper guy, you know what I mean? But if I can come out there and I can say 2 or 3 different things that the guy didn't think of, or
like that's smart, man. I try to say things like that too. Like, hey, if you have any questions, even if you get with someone else, just let me know. Or in the future, no hard feelings.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So Frank says, how do you guys properly quote a concrete job? As in get the correct square footage to charge by, hard to get correct square footage, half circle driveway of multiple pieces of concrete. So
I usually pretty much all go by square footage myself. And if you have some circle driveways, basically what I do is just measure the width and then I measure the length. I just run the wheel down the center of the circle driveway and get it like that. But all of our flat works like by the book per square foot pretty much every time.
Yeah, and Google Earth, I'm telling you, like you could pull up a circle and drop the pins all and just try to make the best circle you can. I mean, it can be a little off. You're going to get the square footage though. So
yeah, the square footage, it can give, like you said, you're off a little bit, but you saved an hour from riding out there looking at it too.
Right, it gives you a ballpark. And then if their roof looks super steep or it looks like there's tons of landscaping, then you add a little more money. And if it's all dirt around the house, no landscaping, maybe take a little off.
Yeah, with those roof quotes, they're just like, I just find that they're so much higher in our area than typically what these customers are used to spending. Because like there's a big knowledge gap over here. A lot of people don't even know that you can clean your shingle roof. So I like to do those estimates through text first so that way I can give them like a ballpark. And I usually go up on the ballpark a little bit. So that way if they're like, yeah, come out and take a look, they're not caught off guard by what my estimate's going to be, Yeah.
No, absolutely. And that's, I'm learning that kind of stuff too. It's like, it's such a mental, like it's a mindset. Like these customers, like you can go do 4 estimates on the same block, give high estimates, each one gets the same. Somebody will be like, oh my God, that's way too high. Somebody will be like, oh, that's it. Okay, great. And then someone will, say that, oh, that's cheap. Like, so it's just it's actually very interesting. You know, when you read, like, when you research this kind of stuff, it's awesome. I love everything about it.
Absolutely. You just learn a lot over time. You see a lot of patterns. You know, you just got to do best practices.
Yeah, it's a mind thing.
So I had another question here for you guys. Best way to schedule jobs so you're not going back and forth all day?
I do mine by distance from our shop, basically. And another thing I will do is always try to do the most difficult jobs early as possible. So if we got 4 jobs to do, the last 2 of the jobs are going to be of the day going to be kind of smaller and closer to the shop if possible.
Yeah.
And for me, I do mainly roof cleaning, so I'm only doing 1, maybe 2 of them a day. So it's like that don't really, it don't mess with me too much as far as planning my route.
Right. What's your distance from your shop that you travel? Do you have like a radius that you like to stick with?
I would say it's probably about 30-mile radius. But I've driven down the Lauderdale, which is south of me. I've driven up north a little bit. You know, it all depends on what it is and how much money it is, you know. So, but I would say generally, I'm actually generally, just from what I actually do work on, I would say my radius is within 15, 20 miles, probably less.
Yeah.
Just because of the way Google works, you know.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You know, it takes a lot to drag me out, but like here recently, we went to Florida to do one. We're going to another state next weekend, and those are huge ticket items. So, you know, tens of thousands of dollars. But as far as like going to a roof wash 50 miles away, usually I'll pass that on to maybe a colleague that's in that area, and he shoots me 10% off the top or something like that. And that works out well too.
That's awesome. You take trips, like, so you got to factor in like hotel stay and stuff like that, but you could also kind of make it a vacation.
Yeah. Well, the guys that go with me, you know, you got to pay them kind of around the clock too, because they're not at home. You know, they basically on the job site 24 hours a day at that point. So it does, the ticket prices get really high on those out of state jobs, but oftentimes they don't have no one in the area that can do them that's qualified to do it, especially with parking lot striping.
Plus, they trust you.
And the trust factor too. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know what you're doing, but I think it's more that they trust you on their property, whether it be after hours and with the key, even maybe. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, we have the keys to the entire facility.
Billy, tell them how you landed that one.
Yeah, I landed those off of 2 ink pens, and this was years ago. We had a couple of ink pens made up with our business name on it, and we sent them over to this facility. Didn't hear nothing back, and all of a sudden they call, and over the past 10 years we've made at least $1 million off of this one client, and it's probably much more than that. But just to be conservative, $1 million would be very well within a range off of 2 ink pens. So
how cool is that, man?
You never know, man. You never know. Like, you could go do a $50 window cleaning and be like, damn, what the hell am I doing? And then like the neighbor, you know, might own like all the McDonald's, you know, like you just never know.
Or all the car dealerships in town. Well, we've done that before too, where we walk in a business card and to a car dealership and we speak into the owner. You know, it's like, he's like, well, I got 6 other ones. I was like, well, let me start writing down the addresses.
Absolutely. Like that little, like I was saying, we just went out to the country, man. We did this little house. She goes, hey, I'm part owner of one of the restaurants in town. Well, the main owner owns like 80% of every single restaurant in the entire, you know, town. So it's just, you're one person away from like having way more work than what you can handle.
You can handle, that's right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You never know, man.
Keith Bender wants to know, hey, Billy, how's the mini skid from Cody doing?
So far, so good. We've burnt the pump up so far, so that's good news. Yeah, so I'm actually wanting to make a video on how much money I made with one of the pumps, because Cody's told me so many times, people say, well, my pump went out, and you know, the 12-volt pumps are disposable, and I think we made somewhere around $25,000 in about a month or so with one pump. Of course, it's not all profit, but you know, what's $100 pump if you made 25 grand? You know, there's nothing to complain about there. But
Yeah.
yeah, the skid's beautiful. I mean, it makes it a lot easier doing our roof washes. So much faster as well.
Right. John W. wants to know, how do you guys reply to a customer when they ask, why is the price so high for a house wash?
I understand we're not the cheapest in town, but we take very good care of your property. We treat it like it's our own, and we go above and beyond to make sure your plants and property's protected. So it's going to cost a little extra, but
you just got to sell yourself. If they asking those questions, usually I find that you probably didn't do a good job in your initial sales pitch to them.
Right. I know what I love. It's such a pet peeve when they're like, oh, well, the last guy did it for this much, and
right,
it's only this much. It's like, yo, call them back then. But
call them back, right?
You can't say that, but it's they're trying to. It's their mental. They're trying to bring you down in your price. They're usually full of crap.
Right. And you really got to find your verbiage as well. Separate yourself from your competition. And I like to do that with social proof along with what I'm saying. I know that a $99 guy is coming out. He's only been washing for 1 year. He's not going to know the difference between a pressure wash and a soft wash. You know what I mean? So make that known, and make it known that you're not going to rip apart their window seals and, be blowing holes through everything. Just front load it, John,
that's why when you build your Google reviews too, it's another thing that people they go, okay, this guy's a little more money, but
stack them, right?
Got a lot of good feedback.
Yeah, that's true.
Some people want to spend more money too.
They do.
They want to, I don't know, it's weird.
That's like Billy. Billy tells me about bids all the time where he bids, tens of thousands of dollars over what the next guy bid, but they still go with his bid anyway because they want to spend more money.
What's this other guy charging less for? Is he, you're spending a lot of money. You're going to think in weird ways,
Right. That's why we need to focus on qualifying questions so that way we can kind of negate, even going out and doing a house with somebody who's, already pinching pennies from the very beginning. Oh, my husband knows somebody who's going to do it. But, if you bid lower, I'm going to go with the lowest bidder because I'm paying for it. That whole situation.
Or how about the customer that tells you how you should do your job?
Oof,
man.
That's the ones we delete and block usually.
All right. Yeah. One and done. You can only hit me once. John M. wants to know, what address do I use on Google if I don't have a shop?
Your physical home address. Got to have your physical home address.
Yeah, and I also think when you do that, you could also have it displayed where it doesn't show your actual address.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I would do. Yeah, that's how I did it. I started with my home address.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can hide that location if you don't have a storefront per se.
So Bazvid says, does the price of the home affect your estimate cost, such as $2 million versus $300K, or are you guys strictly based off of square footage pricing?
We pretty much off the size of the home, the difficulty, the distance from our shop, and the time frame they want it done in. So we don't discriminate against rich people or poor people. They get all the same pretty much square foot pricing.
Right.
Yeah, basically the same for me too.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if it's something that you guys ever bid a job that you don't want to do and you bid it high so you don't get it, but then you end up getting it anyway.
All the time. All the time.
Oh, man, that's the worst.
It is the worst. It is the worst.
Right. Frank Bender says that he's just been walking around with the measuring wheel.
It's a good way. Yeah, definitely. But also you need to factor in if they need this done tomorrow because they're having a party, if it's outside your range. Let's say you really like to travel only around 30 miles from your shop, but this one's 55 miles. You need to account for that extra drive time.
Yeah, and also another thing is, say I'm booked, I'm usually never really booked more than 2 weeks. I don't really like to be that way. But if I'm getting booked up, my prices start coming up because
absolutely.
It's just the way it is.
Supply and demand.
Yeah. And if they don't want to, that's fine. There's enough people around here that will do it for nothing. So,
Absolutely. Truth Seeker says, does Billy wear roller skates when he cleans Sonics?
That's funny.
Oh, that's pretty
I was thinking about a hoverboard, though.
Maybe so.
Might be a little bit better.
Jason Hafner, Justin, what's the best way to private message you for Facebook help? Mr. Davidson, thank you for showing everyone the obstacles are inevitable, but failure is optional. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say this, you guys. If y'all want to, talk to me about Facebook help, you can search my Facebook page up. It's Forever Self-Employed on Facebook, or email me at jrogerstv1234@gmail.com. I tried to throw it in the chat a couple of times, but the messages just keep
Do
kind of
you
popping
have,
up.
can we ask everybody to go and make sure they subscribe to Mike's YouTube channel if they have?
Yeah, Entrepreneur Army. Yep.
Entrepreneur Army.
Come check me out.
So, Mike, what made you switch the YouTube name? Because I knew you had it as Mike Oleyn, right?
Oh, so originally it was Oleyn's Pressure Washing, right?
Okay, gotcha.
So then the first reason it came to my mind was I had customers starting to go onto my YouTube, which is, I'm not worried about that, but I kind of wanted to keep it separated. And then also I started having people from YouTube contact my business.
Yeah.
And I wanted to keep it separate.
That's a slippery slope, man.
Yeah, so it actually still happens, and especially now since I pay a company to answer my phone. So it's funny, like most of my emails and stuff I get is, John Doe wants his roofs cleaned, and then it'll be like, Mike C wants to know what kind of downstream injector he wants, and I'm like, damn, $15, man. But I get mad. But anyway, that's part of the reason. And then I actually changed it. First, I put it was something self-employed. I think it was I made it Self-Employed Mafia. And then I was like, nah. And I was like, Entrepreneur Army. So I just like the way it rang. And it kind of just, it's what I feel like that's what we are, man. We all like-minded people, like whether we're washing or painting or, selling hot dogs out of a truck. Like because we're taught as kids. I think all of us in school is you go to school, go to college, and you go to 9 to 5 work. And I don't know why they teach that to us, but it's not the truth at all. You don't need to do that. You start your own thing.
That's right.
I don't know how Billy has done it, but since the beginning of my YouTube journey, I've always just tried to separate my YouTube from my business because I never wanted those commingling, and I didn't want anyone to be able to like find my customers or anything like that. But Billy has just always given out his, stuff. So Billy, how do you deal with that, man?
So basically, I knew when I made it all public that I would probably get to a point like we are today where we get inundated with people calling and texting. But I let myself, have a little spare time each day to try to help the guys out, also sending them to our training pages. But I realized that when these guys reach out, what would it take for Billy Davidson to pick up the phone and call somebody and ask for help, usually from a really desperate situation? So I realize these guys that call me and reach out to me, sometimes I might be the only help out there that they can reach out to. So I try my best to help each and every one of them out. Some of them do slip through the cracks. And, it's just a personal price I pay. But I do try to definitely just allot maybe a certain amount of time per week to answer those calls and text messages. And then after that, I just can't deal with it because, after all, we only got 24 hours in a day to work with. And, I got a young daughter. I got these businesses that I'm involved with, the YouTube channel, the training courses. So the time goes really quickly. So, but we can only do what we can do. And some guys seem to be irritated. I had a guy the other day ask me a question, and he was a bit irritated I didn't get to him. I read his message. By the time I went to respond, another call came in. You know how that goes. And now he's 6 text messages down, and, it happens. But we just do the best we can do.
Yeah. That was a good answer, Billy. Like, it's true. I do want to always give back and help people, but it's like you have to keep it separated. It's just what it comes down to. Or you have to set time aside, like, because if you're not growing your business and working on your business, then you're going to lose your business and then lose your channel, basically. So to be the best Billy Davidson pressure washing channel, you have to be able to keep that separated. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. What I find the most frustrating when you do take 15, 20 minutes out of your day to speak to a complete stranger and they hear nothing you say.
Yeah, or it's not the answer they wanted to hear.
Yes. Yep.
And then they'll call me and ask me what I think. and I'll tell them. They'll keep doing it until they get the answer they want to hear, which, hey, listen, I've been there, so I'm not trying to knock anyone, but it's, it's something you got to just, each area is different too. Like when I first started watching YouTube channels, people were washing vinyl siding, and in Florida, I don't have that, so, or I don't have many shingle roofs. So each area is going to have different niches.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. So, do you take any personal calls, Mike, or you just can't? You don't have.
I do. I mean, I'll text. What I usually do is I get the message saying, Mike sees, or Joe sees, looking for what type of downstream injector he needs, and if I'm not busy and I have a minute, I'll text them. Exactly. I usually try to direct them to answer in the comment section, or I started a Facebook page too, and that's just so people can all have a community, throw their question up. And then I can answer, or someone else can answer, and then everyone can learn from it instead of the private phone calls. Exactly. Right. I think it's better as a community, and everyone can learn. So you answer the question once instead of 20 different times or whatever.
20 different times. So, yeah, we get the same question sometimes 5 times a day, and if they looked at our YouTube channel, they would definitely find the answer. But I think that's good. Like, with us being in the industry and coming on these lives and doing these videos, we touching a lot more people than we could even imagine. And we couldn't do this if it was a one-on-one. You just wouldn't have the time in a day.
And I don't forget, because I was that guy 3 years ago, YouTube and like, what's a downstream injector? I don't know what this is. Like trying to find out what all this stuff was. And I get it. It could be frustrating. So.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. So Matt wants to know, how long did it take you guys to have a steady work?
At least good a year and a half, 2 years for me. That's when I went full time, about 2 years in.
Yeah, that's pretty much the general idea. Usually around 18 months, guys have replaced their normal income. So basically, the reason why I say that, we find that a lot of guys jump in late in the season, so they do get a little work that first season, and then by the time the next season comes along, if they're in the northern climate, that first full year, usually by the end of that first full year, they kind of got their act together, and they start to replace their normal income. So I find 12 months is a little odd, little rare. If you 2 years into it, 2.5 years, and you still not replaced your income yet, you're probably doing something wrong. So around that 18-month mark is generally the learning curve.
Right, and it probably depends on how much, do you have kids, do you have a home, that kind of thing. Because I know my buddy Henry Vaught, he was a 0 to 7K course graduate, and this dude went from, in less than a year, went from not even know how to use a pressure washer to now he's making like 10K a month. He's in Florida too. I think he's around Tallahassee though. Is that close to you, Mike?
No, that's like a good 8 hours away. He's up in like the Panhandle under Tallahassee's, like under Alabama, I think.
I think somewhere it's close by Alabama. So anyway, he's doing phenomenally, but he lives with his parents, I think, so he's got some support there. It depends on how quickly you can reinvest back into your business as well. How much money do you have for advertising? That whole deal.
Right. And then also in not only just the money, it's the time you have to put into it too.
Of course.
So it's like if say you're a doctor or something and you work 60 hours a week, it'd probably take a little longer to get your power wash inside. It just sounds funny saying that, being a doctor. It would take a little longer, even though you can make more than a doctor, a lot more than a doctor doing this. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But no brain surgeons like, side hustling right here. That'd be funny. Maybe if there is, comment below. That'd be funny.
I know it would be interesting. I've talked to guys all over the industry, people that worked at NASA, people that was in the military. I've trained a couple politicians so far, that sort of thing. And so it's all walks of life. And I tell guys all the time, and it may sound a little cliche, but you don't choose this industry, it ends up choosing you. So it will weed out the weak really quick. And if you're still in it after 2 years, you probably got a lot going for you.
Right. Well, there you go. So Billy, we're a little bit over an hour in. Did you want to answer an hour? Did you want to get close to wrapping it?
Okay. Yeah, I was going to just let everybody know that's in the chat. Please hit a like. Justin worked hard putting this together. Of course, Mike is a busy man. He took the time out for this as well. Hope this helped out a lot of the guys out there. Please go check out Mike's channel, Entrepreneur Army, then also Forever Self-Employed, and also my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do now. Hopefully we can be doing this maybe once a month, Mike, if you're
Hey,
available.
I'm down, man. And even if we did like half on air and half off air, just because I think business people like us, man, and when we get together, I just think it's good for everybody involved.
Yes.
So I did enjoy this chat, and I appreciate you guys inviting me on.
Well, it was good to have you for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, sweet. Yeah, thanks for having me on as well, Billy. We're definitely going to be doing this a bunch more on the channel. So if you guys haven't subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And check out the Billy Davidson resource page as well.
Absolutely. It's always running 24 hours a day, ready there and to help you out. Aaron's did a good job building out the parking lot, all-pro parking lot striping course. So, guys, if y'all interested in that, check out those links as well. It's available. You can learn it now and start striping within a month or so once you dig into it.
Sweet. All right, you guys. I think we're going to wrap it here, huh?
All right, Mike,
Peace.
Justin, y'all have a great
Take care, guys.
afternoon.
Thanks again. Take care. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, you too, sir. All right.